Hello, everybody at Benihana. My name is Sayvon Jarrett, and I am your consultant from Dynamic Consulting Firm. I am our Japanese cuisine expert and also manage our international Asian relations. Today is my pleasure to go through a presentation I prepared for you on how I think I can help you improve your company. So once again, I'm from Dynamic Consulting Firm, and I'm just going to make sure I give you guys a little bit of background on our company before we start. The first being our slogan. Our slogan is spreading culture through taste, and each of our consultants are really fascinated by cultures from all around the world. And we think the best way that we can spread that culture is through each respective culture's foods. We're a relatively new company, having started around 2003. We all met on MySpace, and that might be dating us. But we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And each of our consultants has spent time training in at least one of the five major culinary cuisines of the world. Those being Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, and American cuisines. Also, our consulting firm has got an AASBC accreditation, which is a highly renowned accreditation, rather, that essentially gives us a pedigree in our field. And also, out of all the consulting jobs that we have done, 85% of our clients have experienced at least a 35% increase in profits following our consultation. Now in front of us, we have a beautiful picture of a Benihana's, and through my research, I have found that there is a deep history to Benihana's, deeply embedded in Japanese culture, as the founder himself, as I've come to find out, came from Japan in the early 1900s, and then tried to bring this Japanese experience because he loved it so much over to the United States. And so Benihana's right now is essentially like a living piece of Japan here in the United States. And I think that there's no one more better suited to perform this job than myself. The reason being, I am once again my company's manager for Asian international relations. And on top of that, when I was in college, I studied abroad in Tokyo, and I spent the entirety of my postgraduate studies touring Japan and learning all of its culinary techniques, sampling all of its food, embracing the culture, learning everything that there is to know about Japanese cuisine. And so I feel I can bring a serious repertoire of skills that can improve this Japanese style restaurant. Now, one thing I'm going to make sure I touch on before we begin is the importance of restaurant reviews. Whether you like it or not, customers are going to say what they are going to say. And all that we can do as restaurants is attempt to mitigate the bad reviews and provide the best experience that we possibly can for our beloved customers. One Harvard Business School study has found that a one-star increase on Yelp can lead to a 5 to 9% increase in profit, and that is astounding. And so through the rest of this presentation, I'm going to be showing you how customers have reviewed your restaurant and how it has been able to accurately document the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that face your company. Now, the first thing I have prepared for you today is a SWOT analysis, where I'm going to provide for you the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that I found to be associated with your business. Now, without further ado, let us begin. Here I have posted 4 reviews that are from Yelp that are showcasing a lot of your company's strengths, and we're going to split this up and go over each of these fairly individually. So this slide here is going to cover your business's first 2 strengths that I was able to find, and one being your food is incredibly high quality, people love your food, and 2, the hibachi aspect of your business is extremely interesting to your customers. Review number 1 in the bottom left of the slide talks about how the person just found the experience interesting. They couldn't stop talking about their food, about your food rather. They just wanted to keep eating it, and hibachi takes a minute, which is part of the beauty is the entertainment, the fact that you're watching it happening in front of you. But this person thought the food was so good they almost didn't want to wait for it to be prepared, the rest of their food that is, before they finished the prior parts to their meal. And I think that that is a testament to your quality and prestige in this part of the industry. The review in your bottom right is talking about how one might even be able to go to your restaurant after not having been there for a while, and it is a stable and consistent experience. The food is always great, and you're providing for customers reasonably priced food, and that food is very high quality. Now, to speak on your next two strengths, I found that your management is very responsive, and as a business, you seem to have a very high willingness to improve. As far as responsive management, it seems that customers that have had lackluster experiences, God forbid, but truth be told, it happens, management has reached out to them, or at least responded in some facet, and provided them with some sort of compensation for the lack of a good experience. And you can never truly mitigate your experiences, your bad experiences rather, to being none. All you can really do is try to be as consistent as possible, and give the best experience that you can. And management is filling in those gaps by listening to the customers and trying to give them some sort of recompense for the bad experience. And that's great. And then when it comes to the willingness to improve, it seems that no matter what seems to happen to this restaurant, whether traffic jams happen around Atlanta, seeing as you are in Atlanta, and the spot might not be the world's largest building, and you may even receive an influx of a massive amount of customers. No matter what has been thrown at this restaurant, there has always been strides taken to get better, and the customers are noticing that. And that's amazing. This slide right here is just going to preview the 4 weaknesses that I have seen in your company. And once again, I'm going to break this further down in the next few slides. Now, to get started on the weaknesses, everyone has them, and the first step to fixing them, or to being a better person or restaurant, business, etc., is to acknowledge these weaknesses and then build upon them so that you can really hone in on what it is that you found to be lackluster in. And the first 2 weaknesses that I found with your company is that there's been complaints for bad service and hosts, and also bad reviews that you have received on Yelp and other reviewing websites have caused customers to either not go to your restaurant or to think badly of the restaurant before they go. And one really famous saying is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And the whole point there is that if you go into an experience with a bad attitude, you're probably not going to get the best experience out of it. And so I think it's imperative that these be touched on in the near future. Moving on. Now for the next 2 sets of weaknesses, or rather the next 2 weaknesses, we have that there has been sanitation complaints by customers, and it's been more than one customer. And also that the store seems to have trouble managing medium to high capacities of customers. It seems like they tried to operate at very low capacities, and both of these are very detrimental to the success of your business. Poor sanitation leads to poor experience, poor grades from health inspections, and can lead to your business being shut down. And so that needs to be fixed immediately. And when it comes to trouble managing medium to high capacity, that means there's lost revenue. If customers cannot come in and dine, you cannot profit off of those customers. You cannot provide the experience. And you can lose a lot of loyal, regular customers by making it so that their experience is not enjoyable and they can't be sat. And these 2 reviews down here speak to that. Now, one thing that I wanted to do here prior to when we continue is I wanted to speak on opponents' strengths and not necessarily their weaknesses, because that's not something you necessarily have to worry about. You're already capitalizing what they're weak on. You provide a premium experience, a great hibachi experience, and your food is already extremely high grade. And those seem to be the more relative weaknesses, at least to the 2 companies I presented below. They don't necessarily attempt to get market share in the premium experience category when it comes to Asian cuisine. Now, what you do have to worry about is their strengths. And from what I have seen, the main takeaways from these 2 reviews down here are that speed is necessary to customers. Panda Express, you can sit in the Panda Express, but they also prepare food on site and they have a drive-through. And so customers may look at Benihana or they'll look at Panda Express and they might say, I don't think that Benihana is getting the food out to me quick enough and I'm really hungry. So they will leave to go to Panda Express. And that's essentially the opportunity cost of a hibachi experience, but also the opportunity cost of one that is not efficient and as fast as possible. If the hibachi experience was fast, then perhaps customers would weigh it out and you would get more customers back from places like Panda Express. Also, decor is important for the experience. If you're going to pride yourself off of being a company based on people who have founded this restaurant from Japan, who brought this experience over to the United States, you must make sure that your decor is up to standards, it is modern, and it's high quality so that when people go to Benihana, they feel the premium experience and they feel the culture. The third takeaway is that good service is incredibly imperative. If you look at the reviews, you can find that customers have walked out of your store because they were not even greeted properly. And so this once again takes us back to the whole issue of staff not being trained properly or not being knowledgeable about what it is that they are doing. And each of these are things to be worried about. Now, the next two slides are going to talk on opportunities that I have found for your company and recommendations that I'm making based on those opportunities. And the first couple opportunities that I found for your company are, I think that you should introduce a customer loyalty program. This will allow customers to be rewarded for coming to your restaurant multiple times. And although you are a premium experience, there is no harm in having customers get minor discounts or give away little bits of food like a meal for every X amount of times you come, because that will continue to have people come and pay the premium price for the premium experience. And next is, I think you have an opportunity to increase your social media presence. It's essentially free advertising. Now, companies like Wendy's have really capitalized on this, and they are famous solely for their Twitter accounts. I think if Benihana could increase their share of the Twitter sphere or on Facebook and could reach out to more people or respond directly to comments on social media and build a sort of conversation with their loyal customers, then they are essentially advertising what they stand for, rather you stand for as Benihana, as well as building credibility and almost a sense of social responsibility. And out of all of this, you will essentially have gotten free advertising. Continuing on with our opportunities that I have listed, my final one is I think that you should hire more professional chefs to provide a second-to-none experience. There's a lot of people that can be trained to do simple hibachi tricks, but if you are to hire high-grade chefs who are able to perform this job at a very high level, then you will be able to differentiate yourself from the rest of your competitors and can show that there is a difference between the premium product that is the Benihana's experience versus competitors like Wasabi. Moving on from the opportunities I just listed, we now have the company's major threats. And although there are few, they are significant and they're to be taken very seriously. Your number one threat, I think, is that you need to retrain your staff. It seems, at least at your Atlanta location, that your staff is severely undertrained and they are forcing customers, or in the very least inspiring them to leave and not come back. People are saying that the hosts are untrained and that the waiters and waitresses aren't able to provide simple recounts of menu knowledge, etc. And the chefs don't even always know all about the menus. And it's very important that for a premium grade product, there is no gaps in the service aspect of the restaurant. Also, I think that it is imperative that you have routine deep cleans of the restaurant at least once a month. And this can be helped to be performed by employees, but I could also recommend that you get a sanitation company to come in and clean it, because one really bad inspection can cause you to shut down near permanently. And so if you want customers to come back and feel safe, especially around now, where we're facing one of the largest pandemics we've had in recent history, sanitation is very important, and customers will appreciate a clean, safe dining experience. All right, for the final threat, I have that you should address customer reviews to a higher degree. When I was looking through reviews on for your company on multiple websites, it seemed that you had a bit of a presence when it comes to responding to customers, but it was kind of lackluster. I think that you should, in this digital era, really capitalize on the fact that you have a direct ability to respond to your customers, especially when they have a bad experience. But not only that, to reaffirm a good experience and to thank them for coming, because that makes people feel important and welcome and makes them want to come back. In order to do this, I think that you need to address customer reviews on their respective apps. And in order to do that, you should probably assign a public relations manager to handle this. And I believe that this will pay off for itself. The amount of customers that you will win back after having a bad experience, or will continue to have them come in and perhaps become regular, the profits from those customers will supersede the salary of a public relations manager. And this slide right here is essentially just a summarization of the SWOT analysis that I just provided. And I tried to keep it as concise as possible, and I hope that it's easy to navigate. Just for a brief reiteration and conclusion, ratings are very important. And remember that that 1-star increase on Yelp leads to a 5% to 9% increase in profit. As far as things that you must pay attention to and address, please, I cannot urge enough that you address the sanitation issues in the restaurant, the training of your employees, and your ability to provide a very premium service, as that is your goal. Also, make sure that you harness your strengths and truly make them shine. Benihana is a premium experience. And that's the way that it should be and it should remain, and you're pretty much already there. Just fill in the gaps and you will shine like no other. Now, here is just our contact information at Dynamic Consulting Firm in case you'd like to reach out to us. One thing about consulting that we value as a company is that it's not just a we consult and then it's done. This is a long-term commitment from us to you. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to us at dynamicconsultingfirm@gmail.com or by phone 770-839-2143 or at our website, which is dynamicconsultingfirm.com. And just as a little parting gift, we have provided for you Dynamic Consulting Firm masks. And you can't get enough of these nowadays with this coronavirus pandemic going on. So we hope that this can be a very useful gift and just a gesture of our appreciation for you allowing us to come in and consult for you. I want to once again thank you for allowing me to be here and consult for you. Japanese food is truly my passion, and I cannot thank you enough for allowing me this experience and to get to know all of you and to be able to help you improve. Thank you, and domo arigato gozaimasu.